Welcome to this episode of Clean Up. Today I've got a very special guest. I've got a guest who in fact is an integral part of 𝗬𝗏𝗁, our business, our story, and that is Kirk Simpson, who's the General Manager of 𝗬𝗏𝗁. So welcome, Kirk.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you on today.
It's good to be here.
So let's just start by asking you, what do you do?
Yeah, that's a good question, I think. Mainly, obviously, apart from supporting franchisees and regionals wherever I can, the main thing that I do is lay out systems and processes and build out softwares and all sorts of wonderful things to make sure these guys have profitable businesses. They can get things done. They can access stuff they need to get, in order to get things done, and really get out of their way as much as possible so they can have some great business.
Yeah, very good. So you've been with 𝗬𝗏𝗁 for near 10 years now, but before you got involved in 𝗬𝗏𝗁, you had a very varied background. So you've done so many different things. You've worked on farms. We were putting some doors up the other day and said, I remember working at 𝗬𝗏𝗀𝗃 and so, you've had quite a lot of experience, on factory floors, in management, in sales. I'm going to ask you, how did you get into sales? Because that wasn't what you originally started doing. So how did you jump from working at 𝗬𝗏𝗀𝗃, going in a farm, and then ending up in sales and then sales management? How did that turn out?
Yeah, okay, That was quite interesting. Yeah, I was working on properties and spent a lot of time around machinery and farming, and so I got my hands to that, which was great. And then basically I went into mechanics workshops. It was a natural thing to go from working in the sheds to working in the workshops. And then I started managing a workshop. And then I went from inside to outside sales, really just with Nestlé. So I moved up from the Gold Coast up into Brisbane and started working just in the general route of Peter's Ice Cream, with Nestlé Peter's Ice Cream at the time.
So how did you go from in a workshop?
Yep.
So and then jumping into Nestlé, which is
completely
FMCG.
Different.
Yeah. So was it just a career change?
It was just a change. Yeah. I really just wanted to get out from in one place, because I was always in one place. And even though I enjoyed what I did, I was actually good at it. I just didn't want to keep going into the one place all day, every day. Because I had come from properties, there's a lot of open space. And then I spent a few years kind of in a shop, in a workshop. And I was like, ugh. So the idea of getting out and about doing route sales was pretty good, going from customer to customer. And I'd never done route sales before. So within a few months, 3 months, I think, I was leading sales rep, took the worst route to the best route within 3 to 6 months, and then ended up moving into a business development role with new sales, new customer acquisition. And then from there, I was only there about 6 to 8 months and ended up being the state events and venues manager, executing the 𝗬𝗏𝗁 and working with Australia Zoo and, Dreamworld and Spotless, 𝗬𝗏𝗁𝗄𝗃, Conrad, Jupiter's. So I took control of all of those. I was responsible for all their P&L and distribution and all of that kind of stuff. So that was pretty exciting. So I kind of really moved pretty quickly. As soon as I got into sales for the first time, I went, I'm actually pretty good at this, and then took off. But then, I ended up doing a lot more business development outside of the event stuff. Had a business as well at the same time, because I'm from the music industry as well. So sort of running along the side of that was music the whole time, and I was involved in that and in audio engineering and things like that. So I had a lot of fun. So, but sales was definitely something I got onto very quickly and realised that it was something I was good at. And I think the farming background really helped me nut out things a lot faster than most people and look for better ways. And, because when you're on your own in the middle of nowhere and something's broken, you got to fix it. There's no one around. You have to fix it. So you sort of learn to be independent, thinking, and then solutions orientated, and, you don't get rattled very easily. And so it was a good background for that. I think the blend was healthy. It made for something a little bit unusual. So,
and was it true that when you did the event at 𝗬𝗂, so you organised all the, for those who don't know, the 𝗬𝗂 is the royal show in Queensland. It's in Brisbane. It's a big event once a year we have in Brisbane, and people from all over the state come over there. And the famous thing is the ice cream,
strawberry sundae. That's
the
what
strawberry sundae,
yeah.
And that was, and you had to manage that.
That's right.
And was it true that you ran out like there's so many?
Yeah, well, for the first time, I brought music in there because I realised we needed something different. All I really did with ice cream as well, apart from the strawberry sundae, was just go back 10 years and look at what worked. And that was just the core range of all the other things. So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, the normal ice cream that everybody bought anyway was in all the freezers around the park. And then the strawberry ice cream was the thing we needed to drive. So I actually ended up recording a jingle that started off with the traditional jingle that you hear on the ice cream truck, and then turned into more of a nostalgic, feeling, would you like some ice cream? It was just kind of like feeling hungry. And I gave a button and I put a loudspeaker on all of the outlets. And I basically said, whenever it gets quiet, hit that. And it worked really like a charm. And we ended up selling out ice cream on the last Saturday. We just ended up selling cream and strawberries until we ran out of cream, and then we just sold strawberries, and that was the end of it. I think we sold out of absolutely everything. I think I had 1 5 or 2 5-litre bottles of cream left over, and that was it. Yeah. So
giving people just tubs of ice cream.
We were basically just,
you're out.
Now I'm out. Yeah. So, but it was a good event. Yeah. So we had a few things in our favour. I mean, it was not raining or anything, but executing that was. It was pretty good. It was a good experience, and so 8.5 tons of strawberries in 10 days went through that place. There's a lot of strawberries. Yeah.
How did you get into 𝗬𝗂𝗫?
Yeah, I answered an ad. I came back. You put the ad in. So I came back. I just got back from Perth. I was working with Dr. Tracy King-Shed, this tea tonic thing. I wasn't working very well for her over in Perth. So I took a small contract, went over there and, to have a look at what was going on, came back. I was looking for something else, saw your ad, and then basically it sort of read like you were looking for BDM and sales, and then kind of read like it was something else. It wasn't just an ad. And I think the way you were writing it was more about the vision that you had. That's what I kind of pulled out of it for business. I thought this could be something pretty good. So at the time, it was either I had to go do something of my own, or I had to sort of find something that I really wanted to sink my teeth into and then, stay for the long haul. Like I was always ready to commit to something that was good. I answered the ad, realised that I've thought of cleaning, I said, this will be interesting. I wasn't completely sold. I'd had some experience with cleaning companies in the past, but, more traditional style commercial cleaning companies. But then after a little while, realised this definitely had some legs. You're trying to find a position in the market that was just a little non-traditional. There was a lot more accountability, there's a lot more ownership. Being franchising, I've never been in. I've had some experience with 𝗬𝗶𝗁𝗃, which was the ice cream franchising. I sort of babysat that for a little while when it came up to Queensland for Nestle. So the idea of actually getting into franchising I was curious about that as well. That's why I joined. Obviously, you were saying you had this vision for a global company, and we're sitting at a cafe in Windsor. We just walked across from your shed, almost like from underneath your house, and I thought, okay, well, this will be interesting, won't it? But here we are now, and definitely we've scaled this business out over the entire country, and we're looking to move internationally now. So, good on you for having that vision, and because we're nearly there.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
You've been in franchising now for nearly 10 years.
A decade, yeah.
What do you think makes for a good franchise system? I know you're a little bit biased in this, but what is it that, because we've talked to a lot of also very successful franchisors and franchisees. What do you think makes for a successful franchise?
Yeah, definitely the deliverable. I mean, what I mean by that is if you're going to go and franchise something, make sure that when people invest, they know they're not only going to get a return, but they're going to get a profitable business. You've got to work out that. There's got to be a way to get the sales into the business. There's got to be a way. I mean, all this other stuff about getting out the way and making things easy to access and all of that, it is actually secondary to making money in the business. And unless you have a real way of defining a territory that is actually, whether it's shared or exclusive or whatever, that can generate revenues and good margins of profit for the people that are investing. If you can't do that, just don't franchise, guys, just run it, because you have to have that kind of predictability in that, because people they're investing in you and the systems that you have. They've got to be proven. They've got to be predictable. You've got to have a X equals Y, and if you need 2 times Y, do 2 times X. And it's got to be like that. Otherwise, it's not really, franchising's not it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most challenging part when you start franchising. We certainly experienced it, is we start with a core business. We understand that there's some insights in the market that other players don't have, that we do have. We know we can get market traction. And then it's about how do we make sure that these guys just make money. So, and then a lot of other things just become, as you say, they're initially secondary and then they become primary. And I think if you're if a franchisor is listening to this, or a prospective franchisor that's listening to this, I would say one of the biggest lessons is don't get too caught up in all the things that you may read about that are important about franchising, about relationships and all of that. And it's very hard to sort of listen to that, because you've got to focus first on that core part, which is, I've made money in this business, but it's a different thing again, making sure that partners who invest in you with their separate businesses are also making bank and making really good income. But you've got to get that right. Otherwise, you can't scale past 20 franchises. You certainly can't get past 100 franchises 100%. Unless you've got a very profitable business model that works for everyone in the business.
Yeah. Oh, look, I totally agree. And I also think I'll put a cherry on top of that simply by saying, if you are listening and you're thinking, I've got to work out, super systems and all that initially, just remember that if someone's making good coin that's invested with you and the software's a little clunky or something's not quite right, they'll forgive you. But if they're not making good coin, if they're challenged in actually generating revenues and incomes, then that clunky bit of software is going to be more than the reason and everything else around it. And so primary, they've got to be making profit, and it's the stuff they put in their pocket. And if they can get that happening, and they're forgiving, they'll be much more forgiving. So that can happen. They're nice to have, whether you like it or not. They get defining and refining systems. They're really nice to have later on.
But that becomes then more clear. I mean, certainly
it's more of a priority
for us for the last few years. That's been a big priority for us, is to say the core part of the business works, the financial side, the execution side. Now, how do we refine? How do we help speed things up, as it were? It's like you've got that, the V8 Chevy block, and now it's like, okay, how do I make this smooth? How do I put some turbos on, some superchargers and things like that? So,
and we have a lot more of that luxury in the last 6 years, because the systems have been worked out earlier, and now we're really about, how do we supercharge it? So when people are coming into the business now, they can access, refined systems, proven ways of, generating revenues and profits in their business and additional sales, and they can just jump in and get going now. Like these days, it's quite funny, isn't it? Because 7 or 8 years ago, we'd be thinking someone's doing really, really well at 12 to 24 months of their business, and they're there in 3 to 6 months now. And it's kind of like, well, that happens so much faster now. But what we're really doing is accelerating the things that we've already shown have proven have worked. You know what I mean? It's like trying to speed up a tractor otherwise, isn't it? So once you get it right, you've really got the foundations for that sports car, and then you just, get better tracks and better tyres and everything like that. But, I mean, it's been a pleasure to watch it all happen. But, it was challenging earlier in the piece, understanding the point of difference that we wanted to be as a business, because it's commercial cleaning, right? Like, how different can you be in commercial cleaning? But we did. We found a niche that was really good, and we're really good at it, and we understand the market really well, I think. We certainly understand how to predictably win commercial cleaning contracts, which is, the big driving part of this business, and then how to retain them and leverage them for more sales, So there's all of these wonderful things going on in the business, and people are doing really well. So, it all starts from the core principle of you've got to know how to make money in your market, though. So,
and it's interesting, isn't it? Because now we said yes to a lot of things in the past, but now we say no to a lot of things now. So as you get better at what you do, you've got obviously more opportunities come your way, and it almost becomes part of our job just to say, no, this works. This is a distraction if we go in there. So let's get better at what we do extremely well, rather than start, because we get offers to do things that that we normally don't do. Whether it's additional services or segments in the commercial cleaning market, and you think, no, we're excellent. We're actually the best in this segment. Do we want to just become an average somewhere else? And you kind of got to say, no, we want to be, this thing makes money here. We can make money over there, but why do that when this is so easy over here? And it stays true to who we are, because that was a big question, I think, as we were developing. It's like, well, who is 𝗬𝗏𝗺? What is it? And I think every brand has to kind of face that as they start growing their business, because you can have an outline, and we certainly had an outline when we started, but it doesn't crystallize until rubber hits the road, as it were. Things get real.
Yeah, totally agreed. Understanding the real size of your market, the real potential of your market, and just driving all the way through, because things can be shiny, because you almost get to a point where you think you've got it now and it's almost a little bit boring. But then when you realize, actually, no, we haven't got it, we can go so much further. Yeah. And then, just sticking with that one core principle that you are as a business, and office cleaning, commercial cleaning specialist, but we're office cleaning. We love that space. Yeah. We're great in that space.
And it's huge, isn't it? The market is so big. It's so deep.
It's massive. We'll never take a huge percentage of it by comparison to the actual global size of the market, and just can do incredibly well for decades more.
I think it's estimated that it's an enormous amount of money. It's like
billions and billions. It's ridiculous. It's globally trillions, and it's billions around here.
I mean, even just the Australian market, you're looking at close to $9 billion a year.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. We used to think, I don't know, it was 5-6 years ago, we were saying, who are we, and sort of, have we hit ceilings? Because you do get little ceilings, and we used to think, $6,000 a month or $7,000 a month. That's a good performing unit franchise, And now I'm convinced, because if it's not $15,000 and up,
we got people doing way more.
I know, but I mean, not $15,000 is the minimum now. I reckon it's it's easy to do. We've got, again, we understand how to execute. We understand how to get franchisees to that level very quickly, and it's very sustainable. You don't have to lose customers, and it's kind of like, well, things change and you just get better at it. To what you were saying, you think you want to go do something shiny, but you're only at $6,000 a month for a unit franchise. You know what I mean? You think, well, hang on a second, $15,000 a month if you get a bit better at refining systems and how to execute well and manage teams.
And then it's not long before someone who knows how to do 15, which is about 180,000 a year, they can then do $250,000, $500,000, and we've got many franchisees doing that.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it starts. You just realise it's actually not. As you get better at doing the basics and the simple things, you can do extremely well.
Absolutely.
Just by doing the simple things well.
Do the simple things well, and that's the niche that I think it'll be very hard to pry our eyes away from where we are at the moment with the way we're servicing our particular niche in the market, because it's so profitable. Do certain things for these customers. They want certain things that a particular customer, you've got to know this. Now that we do those things and we know, what they are, and we educate our franchisees, we're finding that retentions are really, really high in the business for customers. Profits are really, good, solid profits in the business. If somebody said to me, why don't you come and help us, nationally with solar panel cleaning, or something, I'm like, nah, look, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to get distracted now. Yeah. So, and it's a good business.
So you're general manager of Urban Clean. We're growing internationally. What's your focus over the next couple of years?
Yeah, next couple of years, definitely want to make sure that we're positioning well for international scale. there's, we're becoming quite a tech company. We were talking about that the other day. We've got a lot of tech, and it really does help us move data. As we get bigger, one of the things that's more and more difficult to move around the business is information and data, especially operational data. So we've got our own proprietary platform systems that we've been building out. Obviously, we've got our mobile applications and whatnot, but all our operational data, LMS team data, it's all moving on, HR data, it's all moving online. Yeah. And, we for the last 12 months, I think coming on to 18 months now, we've been fully online. We're paperless for a commercial cleaning company and franchising. It's quite an achievement because there's a lot of data moving around. And it's quite a robust system that we've been working out. And we're now looking at how do we take this into other international territories and, just make them clonable, adaptable, and, we can move that information around, just take the system that we have here. And then obviously there'll be some market variances, but then we can just pop that business as in a box per se. We can now just move that into international territory. So big focus. We know there's huge markets over in the US and the UK initially, and many other countries all over the world. So how do we get this system accessible globally? So that's one of our focuses.
Terrific.
It's going to be a great focus.
It definitely is, and I think that's a good way to wrap up our episode. So thanks again for listening to this episode of Clean Up, and thank you again, Kirk, for being our guest. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.